Hi again. So we're back and we're on part 4 of the video lecture for the first week of our Human Rights Tribunal content for TRIB 2303. We're just launching in now at about slide 18 that starts talking about the response specifics, so what's required in the response to the human rights application. And this is especially pertinent to your Human Rights Tribunal advocacy assignments. In fact, the paperwork that will be due this week, okay? So first of all, the respondent has to provide additional contact details and or confirm the contact details that the tribunal already has for them. So you're basically just listing your contact details again on the response, even though they've already been outlined on the application, okay, by the applicant. That first piece there says a request for early dismissal if it is applicable. If you are requesting early dismissal, you don't have to complete the rest of the form. All other requests that flow after that one in the response do require you to complete the rest of the form, okay? So you only would not require the rest, be required to complete the rest of the response as long as you're choosing that request for early dismissal option. And a hint, you are not choosing that for your assignment, for the forms that you're completing for me for this week, okay? So you would be expected to just jump over that aspect. You'd read it, but it doesn't apply to you, so just skip past it. You could put an NA for not applicable, but you certainly would not be checking that off and then just dismissing the rest of the form, because that would get you a pretty lousy mark on the response aspect, okay? So this does not apply to the response that you're completing for me. Okay, and then you would move on to an area of the response that says request for dismissal under section 45.1. So this is referring to if this matter is being dealt with substantially in another hearing. And so you can look to the response for what specifics it's requesting, but it does require specific details, okay? You can also request to defer the application if it is applicable. The part that you want to focus in on then for your assignment is the response to the allegations. I believe this is raised at question 9 on the response, but I could be wrong. But I think it's question 9 where you have to start responding. So, is there anything alleged in the application that is outside of the jurisdiction of the tribunal? And then what does the response agree? What does the respondent agree with? What does the respondent disagree with? Are there any additional facts that you would rely upon as the respondent? And are there any defenses that they wish to raise at this time? Okay? Just following that. So this part, sorry, I'm going to say just following that, you jump into exemptions. But before I get into the exemptions, those facts need to be outlined pretty clearly. Again, this is the basis to your response. This is how you are protecting your position as somebody who has just had discriminatory practice alleged about them, that they have committed some discrimination against someone. So you don't want to just give a one-sentence answer. You want to be pretty specific with your side of the story here, okay? It is totally acceptable to include an addendum or Schedule 1 to the response if you need to provide more information here. Okay, then are there any exemptions found in the code that the respondent relies upon? And again, we covered those briefly, the exemptions found in section 11. For the purposes of your advocacy assignment, the answer would be no, there are no exemptions, okay? Unless you foresee one that you want to add, but I would suggest that there are none, okay? So you can either put an NA there or skip over that. When did the respondent then gain knowledge of the events in question? When did they become aware of them? And what was their response at that time? And what was the outcome of their response? What happened as a result of that? Then there are some sections that are specific to disability and employment. And of course, our scenario does not apply to that area, to that code ground, or that code social area. So we would skip over those sections. No need to address them there. If there is an organizational respondent, you will need to identify here the greater details about that organization, as well as if they have internal human rights policies, which you would need to provide to the tribunal. Then you're going to identify if mediation is agreeable, and then the respondent has the opportunity to list what documents exist in support of the response. So those that are in the respondent's possession, those that could be in the applicant's possession or a third party's possession, okay? As well as a list of witnesses, which remains confidential with the tribunal at this time. So now the rest of the slides start talking about the pre-hearing and the hearing process, which we're going to cover next week, not right now. So I'm just going to jump to the end of the slides because they discuss with you the expectations around the Human Rights Tribunal advocacy assignment. So specifically slide 29 and slide 30. Again, it is a two-part assignment, just like your LTB advocacy one was. I'm hoping you've had the chance by now to look over the assignment sheet that's posted on DC Connect, and an updated assignment sheet was posted just last Friday, outlining the new requirements. Essentially, all it changes from what was posted before that time is we're not going to go head-to-head with another group. I just find that not manageable. In this sort of context we're in now of online learning and virtual class discussions, to get 8 people gathered on there and jump back and forth between opening statement, like applicant, respondent, then direct, and then cross, and then, you know, closing statement, closing, all that. I think it's getting into it a bit heavier than we need to, and I think it's going to complicate matters for us. I would have loved to have done it that way in class, and we were prepared to, but things have changed. So we're going to go ahead and present it very similarly to how you presented the LTB advocacy assignments to me. So it's going to just be your group and me. Okay, so we're just going to go through an opening statement, direct statement, and somebody else in your group is going to answer the questions for that individual that have been pre-drafted. Closing statement, same thing, with somebody else answering the questions. Sorry, not closing, cross-examination, and then a closing statement. So just boom, 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 5 minutes-ish each, not much more than that. And you're going to present to me via Bongo, which is the virtual classroom link on DC Connect. And I'll provide your group with a time to present, a date and time. One word on that. They're going to roll out during the weeks of, I think it's April 6th and April 10. No, it can't be 10. The one after April 6th, whatever that is. I don't have my dates in front of me. That first week, our Friday classes are canceled because the college is closed for Good Friday. So to provide a religious accommodation to those individuals who recognize that holiday, we are not having advocacy presentations on that day. So if you are interested in scheduling your advocacy presentation outside of our regular class time that week, so April 6th, 7th, 8th, or 9th, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, if you could get together with your group and come out with a couple of suggestions for me, 3 would be great. 3 half-hour time slots during that week that you're available, and email them to me, and then I'll let you know if they work with my schedule. We'll try to figure something out, and I'll be very flexible as well. And then the other alternative is to present on April 17th in our class time. But in that time frame, I only have the opportunity to listen to 6 assignments being presented to me, so 6 groups. So I can't fit everyone into April 17th. So if you know you want to present during our class time on April 17th in the areas of 12 to 3, let me know. If you know you want to present outside of that class time the week before, sometime April 6th to 9th, let me know, and let me know what your options are for scheduling. So what that means is this week what's due is Human Rights Tribunal Part A1, and this is where it's slightly different from the LTB advocacy assignment, is I've just parsed apart or split up all those requirements for Part A because it was a bit much last time we did it, I thought, all in one day. So Part A1 and then Part A2 and then Part B is still your oral advocacy mark. So Part A1 will be the application and the response. That's due this week at the end of your normal class time, which would be Friday at 3 o'clock by DC Connect. And I posted an announcement about that, and I've sent an email to your group, so you, or I will be, no, I have already, I think, or I will be shortly if I haven't, so you'll know, okay, that that's coming. And then Part A2 would be due next week, also the Friday 3 o'clock, and that will be your case law, as well as your statements and questions with supporting answers as well, right? So just to clarify those dates, Friday, March 27th at 3 p.m., your Human Rights Part A1 is due, which is the application and response. Friday, April 3rd at 3 p.m., your Human Rights A2 is due, which would be your case law and your statements and questions. And then we'll be doing advocacy presentations the week of April 6th, sporadically, and also the date of April 17th between the hours of 12 and 3, our normal class time. Okay? So that leaves that final week of classes, April 24th, for your final test. When the college required us to go to online learning because of all the changes that are going on in the province right now and really in the world right now, the college allowed for the online learning to roll out over a 4-week schedule. So that meant that classes would still finish on the expected end date that classes were always going to finish, which was April 17th. Because we are an accredited program and we need to meet some extra requirements by the Law Society, as you know, completing it in a 4-week span, so leaving 1 week of learning off, was just not an option for our program. So we are actually completing ours in a 5-week calendar, okay? So that means rather than completing it and finishing our semester on April 17th as expected, our semester will go 1 additional week than the rest of the college, and that will go till April 24th. And of course, the Law Society has approved that and the college has approved that, okay? So April 24th will be your final test in this class, and just stay tuned. I'll provide you more details as I know about that, although I don't think there'll be many changes. It will look very similar to what we had anticipated for that, just in the online format. So that's me done for now. Thanks for hanging out and listening to me for all of those 4 long lecture pieces. We'll talk more on Friday at our normal class time between 12 and 1 for a class discussion on Bongo. If you have any questions previous to that, just send me an email. And next week we'll do another video lecture series on the second half of those slides that you need to know. Okay? Take care, have a great week, and we'll talk soon. Bye.